Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Ronke Kolawole. President Muhammadu Buhari is tasking the new Group Managing Director of NNPC, Mele Kolokiari, to sustain ongoing efforts at harnessing the nation's vast hydrocarbon resources towards enhancing Nigeria's economic fortunes for sustainable growth and development. This is while receiving audience both the new GMD and his predecessor in office, Dr. Mekanti Baru. We hope to bring you that report before Nationwide comes to an end today. Meanwhile, the Africa Development Bank, AFDB, says it is using the Africa Investment Forum to bring together members with vested interest in Africa's growth and development to strategize on bridging the infrastructure deficit on the continent. Leah Katumba reports that this was the focus of the second roadshow of the Continental Lender in Abuja, which was an opportunity to showcase the market space available in Nigeria.
Climate is saturated with a dearth of infrastructure. It comes with a high cost, with Nigeria alone accounting for a cumulative infrastructural need of about $3 trillion by the year 2024. The Africa Development Bank, along with the Africa Finance Corporation, is providing the link between financiers and the marketplace to bridge the deficit and allow room for proper growth and development.
So I think as we move now to break down borders and barriers and encourage trade, you'll see a lot of improvements in productivity, improvements in terms of investments coming to the continent, and of course transformative projects for the continent.
I am confident that after this roadshow, both government and private sector institutions will have a better appreciation of how to present bankable projects that will lead to Nigeria receiving a much higher investment commitment from the AIF.
The demographics show that 60% of global population growth until 2050 will come from Africa. The continent has also continued to demonstrate economic resilience with an expected GDP growth of 4% in 2019. With returns on investment currently at 9.3%, the session wants more than just a talk show.
Government supporting private investor projects to make sure that they are ready. So when they come into contact with investors will be interested.
Need for us to appeal, so that we can have something by Africans for Africa.
Last year, 49 deals valued at $38.7 billion were secured at the forum, and out of the 63 boardroom deals presented, Nigeria had 5 deals worth $7 billion, largely due to the nation's medium-term plan, the ERGP. In Abuja, Leah Katung-Babatunde, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization, BMO, has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for signing the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AfCFTA, after exhaustive consultation with relevant stakeholders in the country. The BMO, in a statement by its chairman, Niyaki Shiju, observed that President Buhari has enabled convergence of opinions among diverse stakeholders on the necessity of the AfCFTA, while noting that if properly operationalized, the agreement will benefit Nigeria in numerous ways, being the largest economy in Africa, as well as the continent's biggest market. The group says Nigeria is as important to the AfCFTA as the United Kingdom is to the European Union, EU. The free trade agreement will open the borders of 51 subscribing countries to the agreement to have access to products and services originating from Nigeria. We now go back to that former story on President Buhari tasking the new Group Managing Director of NNPC, Kolo, to sustain ongoing efforts at harnessing the nation's vast hydrocarbon resources towards enhancing the nation's economy. State House correspondent Adam Sambo is now ready with the report.
Managing Director of the NNPC, Mele Kolokari, accompanied by his predecessor in office, Maikanti Baru, is meeting the president for the first time after the seamless takeover of the reins of power at the National Oil Company. During their meeting held behind closed doors, President Buhari noted that a lot has been achieved in the last 3 years across the oil and gas value chain, saying the industry must now be taken to the next level. Most importantly, he said, transparency, accountability, and probity must remain the watchwords as efforts are sustained towards making the critical energy commodities available, accessible, and affordable. The new GMD, Kolokari, told newsmen shortly after that President Buhari's vision and mission for the oil and gas sector are very clear, unambiguous, and indeed achievable without compromise.
I understand the gravity of the assignment given to me. I understand the gravity of the trust that is associated with this work, and also the high expectations of Mr. President for us to make this company a global company of excellence and to deliver to the Nigerian citizenry the benefits of the oil and gas industry. I clearly understand this, and we're focused on making sure that we deliver this in the fastest possible way and in the most efficient way. I assure all of us that we'll do this job with integrity. I will ensure that at the end of the day, in 2023, Mr. President will look back and confirm that he has not misplaced his trust.
The former GMD, Maikanti Baru, who presented to the president a compendium of his performance profile, expressed absolute confidence in the ability of the new leadership of the corporation to deliver on his mandate.
Perfect group, fully aligned, understand the government's program, Mr. President's aspirations and vision for the corporation. And what I will be expecting is that they will more than double what we've done. I'm not setting a high bar for them, but I know this team, they are the jet fighter pilots that will zoom up, dive, and come back and steady. Make sure that this corporation has become not only the largest in Africa, but also making material contribution to the Nigerian economy.
The new NNPC helmsman, Kolokari, promised to work more closely with the EFCC and other anti-graft agencies towards maintaining sanity in the nation's oil and gas industry. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And with the growing population in the country, the well-being of Nigerians is the major concern of the federal government. Part of these concerns is to put an end to open defecation by the year 2025. To achieve this, an inaugural meeting of the Planning Committee ahead of the national launch of the Clean Nigeria used the toilet campaign to meet with stakeholders in Abuja. Ruth Agoele has that report.
A drive around the city center was an eye-opener. With uncompleted buildings and bushes at different locations, it is only strategic for persons who see open defecation as a common practice.
Now, standing is actually one of the points where people practice open defecation. And what beats my imagination is the fact that there is actually a joint here where people come, sit down, relax, and have their meals. Do people even consider the health hazard, considering eating in an environment of this nature? Now, UNICEF has estimated that about 122,000 Nigerians and about 87,000 children under the age of 5 die every year from preventable sanitation-related diseases. Now, what is at stake for Nigeria if we must end open defecation come 2025?
Access to clean sanitation facilities to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 6 on water sanitation and hygiene, WASH, is the ultimate goal of this inaugural meeting by the Planning Committee for the national launch of Clean Nigerian campaign by meeting with key stakeholders to map out ways to end open defecation in the country.
We must ensure that households are mobilized to provide their sanitation facilities. Government institutions and the private sector provide sanitation facilities in public places.
At the moment, the World Bank is financing what we call the third National Urban Water Sector Reform Project.
Experts believe that it is a collective responsibility in sensitizing the public, mobilize support through adequate funding, and promote sanitation across the 774 local government areas in the country. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Now to judicial matters. Nigeria has secured a ruling before the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, based in Hamburg, Germany. The ruling is a $14 million bond against a Swiss-flagged oil tanker, which violated Nigeria's maritime laws in January 2018. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okeowo reports.
On the 23rd of January 2018, the Nigerian Navy arrested a Swiss-flagged vessel while undertaking a ship-to-ship transfer of oil right inside a platform within the exclusive economic zone of Nigeria without due authorization, contrary to the maritime regulations of Nigeria. The Swiss vessel, its cargo, and crew, who are Ukrainians, were subsequently handed over to the EFCC, which is currently prosecuting the case at the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt. But since then, the Swiss government has mounted pressure for the release of the arrested vessel. It is part of this pressure that made them approach the International Tribunal, which has now ordered for the payment of the $14 million bond.
The International Tribunal for Laws of the Seas rejected Switzerland's request that the prosecution be suspended. The tribunal also conditioned the release of the vessel upon Switzerland's posting a bond of financial security that it guarantees that their return to Nigeria should Nigeria prevail in the arbitral proceedings.
Although the substantive matter is still proceeding at the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt, the international intervention by the International Tribunal on the Laws of the Seas is a vindication of Nigeria's right to be able to determine who does business and in what form on Nigeria's water shores. From the Federal Ministry of Justice, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Presidential Election Petitions Court has continued hearing of one of the petitions pending before it. The court has 3 petitions to adjudicate on within the constitutionally stipulated time. Delatubi has details.
Petition of the PDP and its candidate, the petitioners have called additional 9 witnesses at Tuesday's court sitting. This brings to 15 number of witnesses the petitioners have called out of the 400 witnesses they proposed in the matter. The witnesses who adopted their statements on oath as their evidence in chief were led in evidence by counsel to the petitioner, Levi Uzoku SAN. During cross-examination, counsel to INEC Usman Ustas SAN, counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari Wole Olanipekun SAN, and Latif Fagbemi SAN of the APC put the witnesses to task on the allegations. One of the witnesses could not even recall the date presidential election was held in Nigeria. Her claims bordered on alleged overvoting, non-compliance with the Electoral Act in the conduct of the election, and inability to use card readers in some circumstances. The PDP and its candidate are challenging the conduct of the presidential election in 11 states. National Chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole, represented his party and President Muhammadu Buhari in the court, while Austin Akimbono, the National Organizing Secretary of the PDP, represented the petitioners. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Straight to the National Assembly, where the Senate and House of Representatives today suspended plenary following security challenges as Shiite members attempted to invade the National Assembly. Security concerns prompted security operatives to attempt to repel the El Zaki supporters who were armed. Shots were fired as a policeman was injured and vehicles smashed. Though the situation is under control, the National Assembly is under tight security. INEC stakeholders reviewed 2019 general elections, and Hingino in our Lagos studio has detail of this and more on Nationwide. Hello, Hingino.
Thank you, Ronke, and welcome to Lagos. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has advocated attitudinal change by stakeholders in the electoral process and a commitment to playing by the rules. The chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, said this at a review meeting with media practitioners on the 2019 general elections in Lagos. Tunde Saiki reports.
The conclusion of the 2019 general elections offers the Independent National Electoral Commission and others who engage in the process an opportunity to appraise the constitutional, legal, administrative and logistic issues connected with the elections. In this regard, the review meeting with line editors and senior staff of media organizations in Lagos examined the desirability and workability of some of the suggested areas for legislative, constitutional and administrative interventions that will assist the Commission and the country in the conduct of a credible election.
And I believe that there are issues which many of you felt you could raise with INEC for the improvement of the electoral process, but only if you have access to those who will listen.
We must be careful not to fall into the trap of believing that every electoral challenge must be solved or resolved through constitutional or electoral act amendment.
The meeting caught the attention of stakeholders to issues bordering on procedures for accreditation of media organizations, access to information on INEC and its officials, conduct and experiences of voters on election day, especially the vulnerable persons, and the conduct and experiences of party agents, security personnel, candidates and political parties.
We should look at the issue of independent candidacy.
The meeting, officials of INEC say, is part of a wider consultation to learn lessons that will assist the Commission in the conduct of future elections. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Public and private organizations have been urged not to reject core members, but make good use of them for the development of the society. Governor Sanwo-Olu gave this admonition at the closing of the 2019 Batch B Stream 1 orientation program in the state. Bolaji Akim has details.
I'm going into a children ministry, and it's an important sector of the nation that we need to pay attention to. And that will really help me to know more about people, especially children, how to bring children in an acceptable manner to society.
With the orientation course over, visually impaired Oladipo Emmanuel Adeyemi and other members of the batch look forward to their primary and secondary assignments. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in his address, urged core members to see their posting as a challenge towards contributing to the overall social, economic, and political development of the country.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu enjoined members of the public organizations to make sure that they accept core members that are posted, to the establishment. And I'm sure that will be followed up.
NYC State Coordinator Sunday Aroni used the occasion to re-emphasize the need for befitting orientation camp for the state.
This camp is grossly inadequate. The facilities are inadequate, the space is inadequate. So we are crammed up. And let's not forget, the size of the camp will limit the number of core members posted to Lagos State.
Letters of posting was immediately issued to core members to begin their primary and secondary assignments. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy has handed over 3,000 uncovered jerrycans of petroleum products to the NNPC in Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports that the petrol is valued at more than 12 million naira.
Over time, the NNPC storage facility and 8 pipelines laid across Lagos State have been threatened by activities of pipeline vandals. To checkmate this ugly trend, the NNS Beecroft is constantly on patrol. The theme uncovered a storage facility where more than 3,000 jerrycans were stocked, ready for onward transition through illegal routes to their final destination were kept. Our investigation revealed that the products were sourced from several vandalized points on the NNPC pipeline on the Atlas Cove Island.
The Nigerian Navy Beecroft is therefore committed to assisting the Nigerian Petroleum Corporation and other agencies of government in dealing with the issues of pipeline vandalism and crude oil theft. The Nigerian Navy therefore uses this medium to warn pipeline vandals and thieves and other criminal elements, particularly in the maritime environment, to desist from such nefarious activities and pursue lawful means of livelihood. Otherwise, they will surely be brought to justice.
The Commander Nigerian Navy Ship Beecroft, Commodore Ibrahim Shetima, has handed over the jerrycans to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Ronke in Abuja.
Thank you, Hingino. As the ongoing peace talk in Zamfara State continues to gather momentum, police say armed banditry and other related crimes across the state have reduced more than 90%. Commissioner of Police, Zamfara State Police Command, Usman Nagogo said this at a news conference in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
It will be recalled that shortly after he assumed duty last month, Zamfara State Commissioner of Police Usman Nagogo embarked on consultations and meetings with relevant stakeholders with a view to reviving and actualizing the peace initiative of the state government. CP Nagogo, who addressed newsmen on the successes so far recorded by the ongoing peace talk, said more than 50 kidnapped persons have within the last few days regained their freedom, as a mark of commitment by the major warring parties to the perfection of the initiative.
Very soon, about 26 captives will be released by the grace of God. We have our contact committees that are discussing with them, and the report we are receiving is very, very encouraging.
The Commissioner of Police says with this development, armed banditry activities in Zamfara State have reduced by about 98%.
The next phase of dialogue, after we secure the release of captives, will be disarming and collection of all rifles and other sophisticated weapons that are in the hands of both local militias and the bandits. Happily, one person has just given 2 rifles to National Chairman Omiyeti Allah. He is about to bring them to me as a sign of seriousness on the part of the bandits.
The Commissioner of Police Zamfara State, who appreciated the commitment of the State Governor Alhaji Bello Muhammad and the Inspector General of Police Muhammad Adamu towards the restoration of a lasting peace in the state, says the dialogue will continue until the said objective is achieved. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. We'd like to take some messages now. More reports when we come back.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hotsports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hotsports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The challenges of transmission company of Nigeria, TCN, in reliable and quality power supply, that is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. every Tuesday promises to be incisive and educating. Don't miss it.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
USAID partners NTA on maternal and child health. Details with Abdurrahman in our Sokoto Network Center. It's over to you, Abdurrahman. Good afternoon.
Ronke, and welcome to Sokoto. Principals of secondary schools in Nigeria have been challenged to ensure quality education on their students for easy access to tertiary institutions. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar gave the challenge when he received the national leaders of the All Nigeria Conference of Principals of Secondary Schools. Sheikh Muhammad Datti completes the report.
Sultan Muhammad Saad described education as the only legacy parents can give to their wards, hence the need for principals to uphold the confidence reposed in them. As leaders of secondary schools, there is the need for prompt monitoring of students and ensure that quality education is impacted on them. The Sultan said a lot needs to be done in Nigerian secondary schools in terms of infrastructure, calling on the principals to voice out to the relevant authorities for urgent attention. He challenged all boys and girls of various secondary schools in Nigeria to ensure they give back to their schools.
Unfortunately, there has been a lot of very wide gap when one left, and the government is not really paying so much attention.
National President, All Nigerian Conference of Principals of Secondary Schools, Anselm Iziogu, informed the Sultan that they are at the palace to seek for fatherly advice and informed the Sultan of their annual meeting holding in Sokoto. The conference is expecting 7,000 delegates from the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Sokoto, Kebbi, and Bauchi states are to benefit from an integrated health project in partnership with USAID and the State's Ministry of Health. Sadia Umardigi reports that the communities are expected to drive further benefits in collaboration with NTA Sokoto Network Center. The report.
USAID Integrated Health Program is a 5-year program targeting Sokoto, Kebbi, and Bauchi states. The project is aimed at delivering activities that build capacity and provide technical assistance to the State Ministry of Health and State Primary Healthcare Development Agency to activate public and communities to address coverage gap. The program, which commenced on 1st May 2019, is expected to focus on reducing maternal morbidity and mortality, malnutrition, and devise ways of strengthening healthcare services in Sokoto State.
So there are so many projects that USAID is sponsoring in these 2 states. Kebbi came in as a third state now. So this project is targeting healthcare service delivery, health system strengthening in the 3 states.
Zonal Director NTA Sokoto Network Center Hajia Saudat Suleiman lauded the efforts of USAID in areas of health, education, and agriculture, assuring of NTA support and cooperation in disseminating their activities to the public for maximum benefit.
The issues of nutrition are very, very vital in our nation, and we need to sensitize the public. And I believe by coming to NTA Sokoto, we can collaborate and partner. We have so many platforms that we feel and we believe that we can leverage on them.
The program is expected to end by April 2024 with better performance and results from all the states. In Sokoto, Sadia Umardigi, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Sokoto. Back to Ronke and Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Abdurrahman in Sokoto. We thank you. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has reached out to farmers in flood-prone areas of Jigawa State with specialized farm inputs and seedlings to support all-year farming in the state. To this end, the agency has flagged off the distribution of such relief materials to farmers affected by last year's flood in the state. Awal Mohammed Kazaure reports.
Statistics from the National Emergency Management Agency indicate that more than 8,000 hectares of cultivable land were washed away by last year's flood disaster in Jigawa State. These relief materials worth 5 billion naira are targeted at farming population of the state to cushion their hardship and assist them to make up what they lost during this year's farming season. NEMA says it is supporting farmers with specialized moisture-resistant seedlings, fertilizer, and other inputs to help in managing the flood-prone areas.
We have a list of over 73,000 people that are expected to benefit from this exercise. This does not include those that have already been have benefited from the state intervention. This is the leftover of those that were not able to get any intervention from the state government.
This support will definitely go a long way in alleviating the suffering of our people. We really thank the federal government, we really thank NEMA for what they have done to the Gao state.
Beneficiaries of the gesture commended the federal government for coming to their aid at this trying time. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
In a related development, the United Nations and Swiss-based diplomacy organization are helping Nigeria build a strategic mechanism towards ending farmers and herdsmen conflicts. This is coming as the federal government fine-tunes the National Livestock Development Plan with a view to addressing challenges affecting the livestock subsector of the economy. Musa Babaliu has the details.
Old Abdul Karim Hassan rearing his cattle in a land reserved for rice farming. He has an understanding with the owner of the farm to allow him graze on the farmland for manure. We have mutual understanding with the farmers in this area to protect each other's interests, he says. This is the kind of relationship the federal government is clamoring for between farmers and herders.
For peaceful coexistence between the farmers and the herder communities. We hope for harmony, we hope for a symbiotic relationship, we hope for a return to that era where they saw themselves as partners in progress.
In the National Livestock Transformation Plan, there are 5 enabling pillars, all of them speaking around conflict resolution, justice and peace. These are issues that are very, very key to the feelings and aspiration of Macban as a society.
With the incessant clashes between the two parties, the United Nations Development Programme UNDP and Center for Humanitarian Dialogue are coming as mediators towards addressing the challenge.
The forces that this country faces today and tomorrow do not distinguish between religion or ethnicity or trade. They will affect everyone, so we must all resolve to work together to address them. Without collective ownership, sustained engagement, and a willingness to put peace first, it will be difficult to achieve the desired peace we desperately look for.
This training under the auspices of the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is on dialogue and conflict management.
We look forward to enjoy more of this relationship. We look forward to enjoy more of the capacity building training.
Participants at the training are Mieti Allah leaders from 7 states that have histories of conflicts between farmers and herders. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Another break beckons. Join me for more reports thereafter.
One football confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hot Sports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803 331 0175 and Felix on 0803 308 2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
We're so glad you're still with us on the NTA. Creativity, whether from children or adults, is characterized by originality and some other factors. With the overwhelming imagination and dreams of the Nigerian children, it therefore becomes pertinent for the government to preserve what they create. This is what the National Gallery of Art is doing with the program Rainbow Art, Unlocking Creativity. Joseph Johnson reports that the event, which was held in Abuja, was the second in its series.
Creative minds, each of them ready to unleash their creativity for all to see and relish. Immaculata Eze is one of them, just 11 years old, and she is already expressing her thoughts artistically in seeking for justice and fair play with this sculpture. She tells me she hopes to explore the world of art.
In Nigeria, some poor people don't get what they want because there are some rich people oppressing them because of their money, and so this work will help those who do not have freedom of speech to walk, to talk, and to express themselves.
Rainbow Art, Unlocking Creativity is the theme of the program. Little wonder, the spectacle of colors. From art and freestyle, folk tales and drama, fashion parade, bead making and literature sessions, the children had a healthy competition.
We are therefore using this vehicle of visual arts to silently and saliently pass on the idea of advocacy.
We believe that there is certainly hope for the Nigerian child and youth.
With the formal opening of the exhibition station, there are hopes that the artwork of Immaculata and others hanging on these walls will unlock opportunities for them to thrive and their talents harnessed for national growth and unity. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Also, the National Council for Arts and Culture has launched the Nigeria-Ghana Friendship Club to further strengthen cultural promotion and businesses between the two countries. Gufun Shaji reports that this was during the 2019 Accra Wezo West African Tourism and Travel Expo.
Ghana have recently been in the news over relationship issues between the two sister countries. However, this narrative is being changed by the National Council for Arts and Culture as it introduced the Nigeria-Ghana Friendship Club to chart a course for the unity, peace and stability of the two countries and the West African sub-region.
History is made in Accra, the home of culture, like Nigeria is to the world. On this note, I give you the special rendition of Ghana. Fefe nefe, intina, oba tumrika, osene nifuya yese, ebetia tonti. Nothing can separate Nigeria and Ghana. Happiness, bye.
Long live Ghana-Nigeria relationship, and may we continue to strengthen the bilateral relationship between our two countries. May we continue to beat each other when it comes to soccer, and may we continue to teach our friends from Nigeria how to cook jollof rice.
It is believed that this friendship club would bring together Nigerians and Ghanaians of like minds to fraternize and consolidate on the already existing relationship. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the family of the former Vice President Alex Ekweme on the 85th birthday of his wife, Beatrice Chigozili Ekweme. President Buhari joins the family in celebrating the matriarch, whose wisdom, strength, and support for her late husband continues to inspire and resonate, especially her dedication to the service of God and humanity. Mrs. Ekweme turns 85. President Buhari believes her contributions to the nation will always be remembered, most significantly her unwavering commitment to the grooming of the younger generation to make education a priority and cultivate virtues of humility, patience, and hard work. The president prays for long life for the matriarch of the Ekweme family and God's blessings and good health. It's now time to join Abdullahi in Kaduna for more reports on Nationwide. It's over to you, Abdullahi.
Good day, and thanks for joining us in Kaduna. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Kaduna State Command has carried out a mandatory forensic psychological profiling and test on its personnel. This, the State Commandant of the Corps, Modu Bunu, says is to arrest the growing cases of human rights abuse among personnel and develop a reliable database. Amina Saidu reports.
About 2,000 personnel of the Corps from the 23 local government areas of Kaduna State are undergoing the test. The forensic and psychological experts conducting the test are looking out for anxiety disorders, suicidal tendencies, and stress, leading to reckless attitudes that could lead to molestation and unwanted attacks on defenseless citizens, as well as other human rights abuses.
All along, we've been a voluntary security organization where people come in until 2003. And so since then, the Commandant General has directed this time around, he wants to know who is who in the system. He wants to know areas of psychosocial needs so that when people are placed on different tasks, they should be able to perform maximally.
The Commandant of the Corps pointed out that the exercise will also help the Corps to plan effectively and crack sophisticated criminal cases.
This exercise is not meant for we chant anybody. It's just to assess the individuals, to know who they are, and then for the organization to know who is to place where and when and how.
This is the first time the Corps in Kaduna State is carrying out this kind of exercise. Amina Saidu, NT News.
Amina Saidu there. Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai says the APC-led administration is prepared to create a network of high potential young Nigerians who are expected to rise to top leadership positions in the country. He was speaking during the graduation of a set of Sir Kashim Ibrahim Fellows in Kaduna. Rukaya Omar Farouk has details.
The Kaduna State government introduced the fellowship program to help develop and nurture leadership ability among youth across Nigeria. This set of 16 youth selected from different backgrounds were exposed to a variety of programs on the daily works of government agencies with a view to developing their leadership skills. Governor El Rufai said the APC-led administration will invest in Nigerian youths to deliberately build their leadership capacity as future leaders.
We hope that as we graduate sets and sets of them, you will have a critical mass of young people that have lived together, have become friends, have gone through crises and moments of happiness together over the years, and build a network, a national network of people that are committed to a united and progressive Nigeria.
The overall best fellow gets the state government scholarship to study in Harvard University, while the four secured automatic employment with the state government as special advisors to the governor. In Kaduna, I am Rukaiya Umar Farouk, NTA News.
On health matters now, nutritionists are working on a new strategy in collaboration with journalists in the northwest geopolitical zone of the country to tackle malnutrition among infants in the zone. Lawal Salo Inua reports that the synergy is to develop a strategic blueprint that will educate nursing mothers on ways to avoid stunted growth among underage children.
Statistics show that Nigeria is the third country with stunted children of over 17 million, where the northern part of the country has the highest number. These challenges prompted the national and international organizations to come up with strategic measures that will prevent the menace and bring a lasting solution. Ready-to-use therapeutic food is one of the substances introduced for children under 5 and distributed free in all public health care centers as part of the measures of addressing malnutrition. Participants at a workshop in Kano took a fact-finding visit to Gogorwa Healthcare Center to ascertain the level of compliance in the distribution of the substance.
There are a lot of children enrolled on a daily basis in the different cement sites, but as it is, all the cement sites are out of stock. From the ones we have gone, they are all out of stock.
And for the past 1 year now, there wasn't anything like provision of RUTF.
Kano is one of the states that is having these challenges. But it's good for us to join hands together between the media, civil society, and key stakeholders.
While exchanging views, participants and facilitators were minds on the challenges of malnutrition and its impacts on the Nigerian children. From Kano, Lawal Sallo Inua, NTA News.
Many thanks, Lawal Sallo Inua there. And the news will now continue in Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullahi. The last major population census conducted in 2006 pegged Nigeria's population at 140 million people. Nigeria's population index has been projected to hit at least 400 million by year 2030, with the population growth rate pegged at 3.2%. Experts on Good Morning Nigeria today have called for a new population census to be conducted for the opportunity to reduce the disparity in population figures and also help in the allocation of resources to the citizenry. Daniel Aderiye has details of that report.
Nigeria's current population boom is one that should call for serious concern. The guests, however, say with the availability of resources and the collaborative effort of both government and individuals, population management is a feasible reality.
To maintain the current situation, it means you need more resources. If there is concerted effort, and it is a business for everybody, not only government, for everybody to know that we have a problem at hand which we must solve.
An increase in budget allocation to family planning, which they cited has dropped by 80%, and increased awareness on the need for family planning and also creation of policies that promote demographic dividends, they noted, is key to ensuring a developed and adequately managed population index.
We need to educate our women. We need to have policies that are complementary. We can't say we want to provoke demographic dividend in Nigeria and reduce our budget for family planning by 80%. It does more than 80%. It doesn't just work.
For you to have demographic dividend, there are 5 clear things you must do. Number 1, reduce fertility rates. Number 2, invest in your youthful bulge. Number 3, your healthcare sector must be optimal.
They called for more strategic policies such as improved tax policies that will help families make informed choices in the rising birth rate in the country. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
And to other news now, the ECOWAS Commission has commended Nigeria's social investment programs as viable economic models worthy of replication in the West African sub-region. This was when the Commission received a 10-man Dutch trade delegation at its headquarters in Abuja. Mitari Ikwen was there.
The conditional cash transfer scheme, Trader Money, Empower, and Homegrown School Feeding Program are popular components of Nigeria's social investment programs that are resonating with success stories across economic value chains.
Such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Vice President of the ECOWAS Commission, Finda Koroma, told the visiting Dutch Minister of Foreign Trade and International Cooperation and her delegation that ECOWAS will welcome the expertise of the Netherlands in instituting and expanding economic policies and strategies that will lift more women and youth out of poverty.
Nigeria has a standalone strategy, which is being coordinated by His Excellency the Vice President, and he's very proud of his human capital strategy. So we will use Nigeria as a proxy for the rest of the member states, but the strategy will focus on 6 member states, even though it's going to deal with all 15, of course, 2 francophones, 2 anglophones, but we cannot leave Guinea-Bissau behind because that's the one country we need to move. So any help we get in that area would be very, very useful.
The Netherlands is renowned for expertise in agro-business and is willing to boost international cooperation with West African nations.
Youth is a priority, but also our trade agenda, which focuses on startups by and for youth in our own country, but also in developing countries. So I think there's a tremendous entry point for us to work together.
In the coming days, ECOWAS and the Netherlands will prioritize areas of economic cooperation with a view to achieving quick wins in the sub-region. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Elections Petitions Tribunal continues sitting in Ibadan. Kemi is there with details of this and other reports. Hello, Kemi.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Ibadan has declined INEC's witness from testifying before it. This is in the petition filed by the APC governorship candidate Adebayo Adelabu challenging the election of PDP candidate Seyi Makinde in the March 9 governorship election. Correspondent Abdurrahman Kamaldeen reports.
INEC returning officer in the 2019 governorship election in Oyo State, who is also Vice Chancellor, University of Lagos, Professor Toyin Ogundipe, was subpoenaed by INEC to testify before the tribunal. However, counsel to the petitioners objected to Professor Ogundipe's appearance, saying his name was not front-loaded by INEC as witness. In his defense, counsel to INEC insisted that the tribunal has discretionary power to allow the witness to testify before it.
The witness sought to be called. His name was not front-loaded, nor was his statement unknown, written statement unknown. That was why we objected.
A subpoenaed witness is not a witness under the control and supervision of the person or the party that called him.
In a short ruling, the 3-man panel led by Justice Sirajo Mohammed ruled in favor of the petitioner, maintaining that the law requirement binding the process was not followed. Petitioner had earlier called 69 witnesses and tendered 4,166 documents which had been admitted in evidence. From Ibadan, Abdurrahman Kamaldeen, NTA News.
The Kwara State government, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has pledged to step up their game of ensuring the well-being of the Nigerian child. This was at the close of a 2-day stakeholders meeting in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Deborah Bola has the details.
UNICEF expressed optimism
that with timely response of government support in the area of counterpart funding and collaboration of all partners, said goals and objectives will be realized. The targeted mandate, according to the spokesperson of UNICEF, includes provision of water, improved sanitation, health and hygiene, basic education, among others.
You cannot achieve if you don't have real data, real situation analysis about the children.
Participants reiterate their commitment to ensuring that the voice of every Nigerian child counts in the society.
It will impact our activity because it stirs us up, challenge us to do more than what we have been doing before.
It's a meeting that is causing awareness to the state government and the stakeholder, which is supposed to be coming up regularly.
The kind of motivation, and it kind of widens awareness for what we are expected to do for the rest of the year.
The mid-year review and planning meeting obviously is to concretize effort at revamping the UNICEF and Kwara State government partnership towards a better society. Deborah Agbola, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Ronket, back to you.
Thank you, Kemi. Now time for sports update with Tamara Ibiwe.